Hello and welcome back to The Forge, everyone. This will be the fourth and final devlog of the game I've been working on for the last month or so, called Robo Forge. This all started out as an idea for a game jam. It was only meant to last for one weekend, and I ended up falling in love with it. And I think that a lot of the other contestants actually quite enjoyed the idea, though sadly I did fall a little bit short of it. So I decided, screw it. Everyone keeps talking about making a game in 30 days. So I decided to give it a try with a game I thought had potential. This is what I did in 30 days on Robo Forge. So what was the first thing I did as soon as I started this project? Well, it was opening a PowerPoint. Yep, you heard that right. This game started in PowerPoint. I decided I wanted to build a world around the themes that I'd gotten. So I gave myself a bit of a mind map in PowerPoint by building a little bit of story around each of the themes. Whether it be current, trying to keep the forge burning so your player has the energy to last them through the night, or to dig the holes that they need in order to defend against the attacking robots, or whether it be the build during the day and defend at night. I built the entire storyline around why it worked and how it worked, and it all went in PowerPoint. Once I had a little bit of lore built around the theme and all the ideas that I had bottled up inside my head, I decided to throw it into Trello and break it up into small little bite-sized pieces before diving straight into Unity. I started out by building the character and trying to figure out what I wanted the world to look like. And I also decided what I would take charge of and what I decided I'd rather take a step back on. So I decided the things I wasn't going to try and work on during the game jam was going to be the art and the music. Because for art, it takes so much time, and I am sorry, I love it, but I'm very, very slow when it comes to doing any kind of art. So I decided I'm going to use assets and use things like that to try and speed it up. And don't even get me started on music. I am sorry, I don't have good taste in music according to other people, and I haven't got the faintest of a clue how to make it myself. So that was out the window. Goodbye. No thank you. After that, I decided the things that I was going to try and do, which was going to be all the coding. I was going to try and code everything on my own. I might follow a little bit of tutorials here and there, but after having a couple of months and a couple of years of experience, give or take, on coding, I decided I wanted to try and make every piece of code on my own so I can use this project to climb higher and learn a lot more about the art of coding. The other thing I was going to try and do was focus on the level design, since I've never actually built a proper level for something like this. I've done small little things for things like platformers, but that doesn't really count in my book. It's not really the best. So those were the things I was going to work on. I was going to work on code and try and learn how to build a proper level with level design. As the project continued to move on, things didn't quite follow that book. Music, you stay out of this. I did not touch you. I will not work on you. Get out of the picture. The art, on the other hand. For a game that was never supposed to actually have me working on art, I had 4 assets that I decided to use for this game. Player, the robot that was attacking, the merchant, and the background. Everything else in the game was made by me. Whether that be the UI, whether it be the health bar, the charge bar, the forge, the player UI bar, the backpack. Oh my word. Why did I do this to myself? Oh wait, that's right. Because I don't like the stuff on the asset store, so I decided I want to make something I like instead. I'm sorry. When it comes to the player models and when it comes to the enemy and the merchants, all of that was done by the exact same artist, and I give you a huge thank you to posting this stuff for free on itch. It was a huge help to me, and I'm sure it's been a huge help to anyone else who's trying to learn game dev. Thank you very much for providing us with something free, and each of these characters were all parts of their own unique bundles. The character themselves was free, but they are part of a bigger image or bigger collection. So if any of you are interested in supporting this artist, please go and support them on their itch page by buying the full collection. And a huge thank you for the person who made the dungeon tile set as well. It was also a huge help with world building and level design. It made things a lot faster than had I tried to make it my own. because I know how long it takes to make one of these. It is not a pretty picture. When it comes to level design, despite wanting to learn a lot from this project and to try and improve my level design, I didn't really get too much out of it, sadly, because I decided to do this for a 2D game where you're running around the exact same room trying to defend it from enemies that are breaking in through little side rooms. And for something with a storyline where you've sold everything in order to get what you have, only to have lost it all again anyway, you have an entire empty room, an entire empty forge, and you're trying to say, abracadabra, level design. It's an empty room, what can you say? Moving on to my absolute favorite part of the entire project, the coding. Don't get me wrong, there are days where I felt like I'm just not in the mood to code, so ChatGPT, tutorials, whatever. Come on, let me at it. And then there are also days where it's like, you know what? I'm doing this because I want to learn. Who cares if the project doesn't do anything? It's going to be a free-to-play project at the end of the day regardless. So let's sit down and spend some time on it. And I spent days and days working on certain codes that, let's be honest, probably would have taken 5-10 minutes if I'd watched a tutorial or used ChatGPT. But it was so much fun just making it on my own and learning how each part worked. And I just fell in love with the whole game making process all over again. And if there was anything on this project that I'd love to just do over again for the fun of it, it would 100% be the code. I loved working on the code. This was the first ever time I'd ever made something like a merchant where you actually have a gold manager in the scene that will keep track of how much currency you have, how much you've spent, as well as a shop system where it will actually communicate with that rather than just being a score system at the end of the day. The nav mesh agent, I'd never even thought that this was something that you could get, let alone something you could get for free. Thank you whoever made this. Put it here on screen if I remember to do this later. You've made my life, and I'm sure many others' lives, so much easier. So thank you very much for making this. Thanks to the programming, the art and the level design, I was able to bring Roko, the robo, to life. Building the storyline for him was a bit interesting because I was a little bit limited for space, since I've never actually built a scroll bar in Unity before. I have not done that for this project because I was running out of time. So I was limited to 6 notes. And throughout those 6 notes, I had to tell a story. One, how Roko came to be, what happened to Roko's creator, how he started, how he ended up here, as well as how his story came to an end, and what happened in between. And in order to figure all of that out yourself, I'm not going to give you any spoilers because I want you to play the game and figure out and have fun on your own. So please, if anyone wants to play it, it is available on itch.io for free for anyone who wants to play it. What's that, you might be asking? We're 4 weeks in and a finished game later. What's happened to the sound design? Oh, don't worry, I managed to cram that in the very last minute since I still can't create anything music related. I still don't know how that works. So absolutely everything was assets from Itch or Unity. So all of the assets that I've used are here on screen at the moment. If any of you want to try and use them, from the music to the sound effects, I highly recommend it. Working on sound effects was rather interesting in all honesty. It was rather simple code to get it all working. The only thing that was a little strange was trying to find the right sound effects for each action. I tip my hat to whoever gets sound effects in movies and animations and all that stuff right. And hey, screw that stuff too. Whoever gets stuff in games like this right. This was so strange to try and work with. I have no idea how people get such a smooth animation to work with a clean sound that just blends into it so well. The animation was rather interesting to work with as well, but that was rather easy to work with. Hell, I even used Unity's little animation tricks and tips and things like that, so I wouldn't have to animate things on my own. There are some buttons that blink and do things for the player. That's all done in Unity. None of that is animated outside of Unity. So thank you Unity for making animation easy. Sound effects on the other hand, yeah, please can someone make some more sound effects and put them on the marketplace or things like that for people to use. Because, my word, there are no sound effects on the asset store or itch.io that actually worked well. There are very good sound effects and things out there, but none of it really felt right for a game or specific actions. Like, if you play the game and do the upgrade sound, it sounds so out of place. The buttons have a delay every time you click them because for some reason, sound effect isn't immediate. It's got a 1 second delay before we actually give you the sound effect. Abracadabra. But aside from that, this game was actually a lot of fun to work on, and I learned a lot despite only working on it for a month. So I'm putting it out on itch. If it gets to a goal, I'm going to put on itch that if it gets to a goal of $100 for donations, it's free to play, so if you don't want to donate, don't feel obligated. But if it gets to $100, I'll put it out on Steam and I'll make a video on the process of putting out a Steam game, since that would actually be my very first ever Steam release, if it does get to that point. Aside from that, thank you guys very much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe if you guys enjoyed. I look forward to seeing all of you in the next project.